Welcome back everyone, Racer X here, and today I thought I would put a quick video together for you guys because the mid-year sales numbers for 2025 just came out. We know it is early July, and there was just an article written earlier today about Dodge and their sales, and it's just not a good scene whatsoever. You guys know I am a huge Dodge fan, but the sales numbers are not good at all. We'll talk about it today. If you guys are brand new to the channel, do me a big gigantic favor. Hit the subscribe button. You can find it right over yonder, and off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
As a car person, there are few things more frustrating than going to get in your ride and seeing that super annoying check engine light come on the dash. Well, guess what? My friends at Ancel sent me their most powerful diagnostic tool ever, which will help you out with that. It actually diagnoses the 4 major systems in your vehicle, which would be your ABS, your SRS, of course, your transmission, and most importantly, your engine. It does all of that, and the interface is bigger and easier to use than ever. Take a look.
One of the things that makes the DS100 so different from other diagnostic tools is the fact that the interface is so large and easy to use. I love this auto search feature right here. It will automatically go in and locate my car's VIN number, and then I have all sorts of additional functionality once it finds my VIN. And as you can see right there, it found my 2021 Camaro, and now it's doing an analysis. Now I'm running a health report on my car. The car is on, and it is just doing its thing, making sure my car is healthy. It looks like I do have a couple of error codes right here I need to investigate. Everything else came out solid, but I can actually go in and take a look at these codes and see what it tells me. And because my device is connected to my internet, it will automatically go in and search that error code to find out more information. How cool is that? And because I do have a couple of error codes, I can go in and use this service function right here, and I can ask real-time questions which Ancel's representatives will answer for me. The maintenance feature of this device is also really cool. If you go right in here, you can see 7 special features that they've added. Oil reset, I kind of like that one, but brake pad reset. This device also automatically stores your vehicles right in here. You can see my Chevrolet right down there at the bottom. Something else unique to this device, if you go to feedback right here, you can actually see different areas where you can receive feedback, and you can even attach a picture. How cool is that?
As you can see, the DS100 is an extremely powerful tool for helping you diagnose issues with your car and assisting you with getting the help that you need. So if you want one of these, it's super handy to have. I will pin a link in the comments section to make it easy to find. And on we go with the video. So as I mentioned, this article just came out earlier today from our buddies over at Carscoops. And I want to preface all of this by saying, you guys know that I am a big Dodge fan, a big Mopar fan, and I really don't like putting a lot of negativity out there. That doesn't mean I don't ever put out negativity. I try and be as objective and real with you guys as I can, but traditionally I'm more of a glass half full kind of guy when I can be. The data is the data, and the first thing I want to do is just kind of give you the data, and then I want to give you my thoughts on really what all of this means. So the very first thing here, after looking at the mid-year sales for 2025, Stellantis as a whole, we know Stellantis, a lot of different brands, including the Mopar brands, i.e. Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, is down 11% compared to the first half of 2024. And we know sales were soft in 2024. Well, they're down a further 11%. Dodge is one of the biggest culprits of this. So if you look at Dodge, first half of 2024 versus first half of 2025, they are down 50%. That is a really big number. Now just listen to some of this, it's kind of wild, but in 2024, after they stopped making the Charger and Challenger, the Hemi-powered cars everybody knows and loves, they sold 26,876 Chargers. They also sold 21,217 Challengers. So you have that working for them in the first part of 2024. Like I said, those are the older 2023 model year. And then 2025, they've only sold 4,299. So essentially 4,300 EV Chargers. These are the cars sitting right behind me. 4,300 compared to almost 50,000 the previous year of the old generations. As a matter of fact, one thing that really stood out in my mind is the fact that even in 2025, the first half of 2025, they sold 3,200 Chargers and Challengers, almost as many as the new car. and that car is 2 model years old. And that's just the scraps of what was left over. It's just wild to me. So the other culprit for Dodge is, of course, the Dodge Hornet. This car also got all sorts of negative press out there, whether you're talking about the GT trim or the RT trim, which of course is a plug-in hybrid. Sales in 2024 were fairly soft. They sold 11,718 units in the first half of 2024. However, in 2025, it gets even worse. 5,647 units sold in the first half of this year, meaning the Hornet is down 52% compared to the first half of last year. And it really didn't do all that great last year. Certainly not like Dodge had hoped. So you can see between the Daytona EV and of course the Dodge Hornet, sales are way, way down compared to 2024. Now the saving grace for Dodge is actually the Durango. If it wasn't for the Durango, they would be down way more than 50%. As you can imagine, Durango sales are actually up 4% year over year. So first half of 2024 compared to first half of 2025, Durango was up by 4%. Most of that is attributed to fairly aggressive incentives on that vehicle because we know it didn't really get any cheaper. However, the incentives that they put out there on that car probably helped it quite a bit, but that's really all that Dodge has working for it. So that does really suck. Chrysler as a whole is down 22%. But I sort of figured that. The 300 went away. They really didn't sell very many 300s. They sold like 3,700 units in the first half of 2024. And then, of course, we know it went away after the 2023 model year. But Chrysler has no sedans to sell. And I sort of assumed that Chrysler was down as a brand, and it most definitely is. Now, Jeep and Ram, which traditionally have been the cash cows for Stellantis and Mopar before Stellantis, seem to be doing okay. Jeep is actually down 5% year over year, but they did move a lot of metal, 289,000 units. So that's not terrible. But like I said, down 5% isn't really ideal. And then, of course, Ram, 204,000 trucks sold. However, they are up 2%. So that is sort of helping the cause there. Obviously, we know Tim Kuniskis came back, which is really good. He hasn't been back for all that long. He still needs some more time to do his magic. But up 2% from Ram, so at least that's a little bit of good news. So with the two really big brands within that Mopar umbrella, if you will, they're still kind of holding their own to a degree. Now, I realize some folks out there will say, well, look, everybody is down across the board. Interest rates really haven't gotten much better, and there's a lot of other factors at play. There's some economic uncertainty out there. We've got a new bill that just got passed. I mean, there are a litany of things that you could say about why all the brands aren't doing well, but that simply isn't the case. I mean, the Kia brand is doing fairly well. Ford is actually up as well. So it's kind of a mix across the board, actually. So it's not that all brands are doing poorly either. Whether you're a Dodge person, a Mopar person, or even a Stellantis person, the truth is none of this is good news whatsoever. Dodge being down 50%, Chrysler being way down, Stellantis as a whole, which is a huge global company, down 11% year over year versus 2024. And we know sales last year weren't all that great. However, in my estimation, there is some room for optimism. I actually just put a video out not too long ago talking about how I feel like the corner is starting to turn a little bit. We have the right people now back at Dodge, back at Ram, back at really over all the brands. We know Tim Kuniskis is now over the North American brands, and he is the guy that gave us the Hellcat and so many other amazing platforms. And he really does understand the American consumer and what this consumer is all about, what the Dodge customer is all about, what the Ram customer is all about. Jeep, I mean, he has a good understanding of it. Bob Broderdorf, who works over there at Jeep, worked with Tim a long time. Same with Matt McAleer, who's over Dodge. And a lot of people want to say, well, look, this is McAleer's fault. This has nothing to do with Matt McAleer. I mean, this was all decisions made by Carlos Tavares and his team. And I do want to kind of qualify something, because a lot of times people want to villainize Carlos Tavares for sort of running these brands into the ground and doing all this damage. And yes, that did happen. Now, if he was picked to go run Toyota or Kia or somebody like that, I really feel like Carlos Tavares would have been very successful, because his mentality was all about just moving the metal and catering to the average consumer. The problem is there was a huge disconnect, because that really isn't what the Mopar consumer is at all. They're not the average, just run-of-the-mill soccer mom, you know, moving the masses, really low price point. I mean, it's just a very different consumer. And I feel like that disconnect is what caused everything to spiral out of control. So I do want to give him just a little bit of credit. Like I said, I feel like some of his ideas would have worked really well somewhere else. But for this brand, under these circumstances, it was never going to work. So now we have Tim Kuniskis over all of the North American brands, a decision made by Antonio Filosa, the new CEO of Stellantis, and Antonio is fully behind Tim and his efforts. I feel like this is a great move, and I do feel like these brands are ready for a come up, if you will, right? I think things are really going to change a lot over the course of the next, say, 12 to 18 months, but really even sooner than this. I feel like we will see an uptick in sales before the end of this year for these brands. That doesn't mean the Dodge sales will fully recover. That doesn't mean that, you know, Ram is going to be up 30% or anything like this. I've talked about it in the past. It does take time, but Ram is ready to release like 25 new products in the next like 18 to 20 months. That is a lot. I know Jeep is definitely working on some stuff behind the scenes. And Dodge, of course, they have yet to release their six-pack car, but I know they are working on quite a bit behind the scenes as well. And I really do feel like a lot of these brands are really going to do some good things. And Chrysler, of course, I thought that brand was just going to go away and dissolve. I felt like they were so stagnant, and they were, to be honest. But I know they have a lot of new stuff coming from Chrysler as well. And I think most of this stuff is going to be pretty darn well received by the consumer. We'll have to just wait and see what's going to happen with pricing. I know that's a huge challenge for these CEOs, you know, Matt, and of course, obviously we have Tim out there, but all of his crew, right? I mean, they really have to think very, very hard about giving customers stuff they want, but keeping the pricing to where they don't price themselves out of the market. That is a huge challenge right now, but I think by the end of this year, things are really going to start looking up for these companies. Might be time to buy stock, who knows?
But it is time now for us to harness our past, to accelerate harder and faster towards our future. So today we start recruiting, we start rebuilding, and we refire the machine. We stop being quiet and we get loud again.
So anyway, guys, pretty short and sweet today. I just wanted to share the bad news about the sales. Not surprised at all to see Dodge down 50% and Stellantis way down, Chrysler way down. I sort of knew all of that was coming. I am glad to see Ram holding their own and actually making a little bit of an uptick, and we have yet to see a lot of the great stuff that's coming from Ram. So guys, I mean, let's just wait and see what happens. Give Tim and his team a little bit of time. You know, you've got, like I said, you've got really capable CEOs at all of these companies now, and I know they are hard at work, and I firmly believe that things will really start to look up by the end of this year. So we'll just wait and see. Let me know what you guys think will happen, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, race Rex.